Welcome, guys, back to the I Love Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Woolwine. Today, we are welcome with Ezio Orlandi. How we doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of
Appreciate this.
course, blessed to have you on here. I'm excited to talk about your wrestling career, um, and all the facets and stuff around it. Before we get started, though, are there any social media accounts or anything like that you want to let the fans know where they can check you out next?
Yeah. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all Ezio Orlandi, Ezio space Orlandi. You can just put at, and then as soon as you put Ezio, most of the time I'll just pop up. That's where you'll find me on all of them.
Easy way to stand out, huh?
Mm. Well, it's yeah, that's at least with the name being like hard to pronounce or whatever. At least it sticks out really crazy. I think I'm the only Ezio I think in the U.S. actually. So pretty cool.
Okay. Okay.
Wrestler.
Um, since how this is the I Love Wrestling podcast, I'm gonna start at the origin of your wrestling fandom. When did you find it, and when did you fall in love with it?
I found it when it was introduced to me by my younger brother. He showed me SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Uh, had it for PlayStation 2, played it all the time. That turned into watching Raw and SmackDown every week, and I haven't stopped watching ever since. It's just a sport that I I'm very aware that it's a whole production. It's a live movie, and it's this sport that has rules and there's reasons why things happen, and I enjoy the athletic ability and the drama and the storytelling that goes into it and the key players.
Just to I guess get a little sidetracked. Are you or do you still partake in playing the wrestling video games?
No, not as much.
No.
Not just don't have as much time. Most of the time I'm working my real job as I'll say it. I'm a project planner for my family's statue company,
Okay.
Orlandi Statuary. Crazy enough, and then I'm just working out. I'm working out, going to training, trying to have somewhat of a social life by I don't know, stopping by my folks' house or seeing some friends here and there. But I just barely have time to play video games these days.
Fair enough.
You play video
Uh,
games still?
yeah, I actually just bought the new WWE game.
Oh, nice. How did you
Just
get to play it all?
I haven't got to play it yet. I think tomorrow's the first day it's actually released, but I do got it pre-ordered, so I'm just waiting.
You have to message me how it is. Maybe I'm willing to check it out. I still have an Xbox One. I just have it. It's just a little dusty.
Okay, okay, I'll let you know.
Hmm.
Um, what was your favorite character on SmackDown vs. Raw?
Ooh, that's a good one. Rob Van Dam.
Okay,
Van Dam. He would. I mean, I would lose all the time because his finisher was off the top rope,
yeah,
and for whatever reason, in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, if he wasn't perfectly in the middle of the ring, he would just miss, and then
you
the other
either
guy
go
would
way
stop.
over the guy or way under the guy, or
Yep. My guy's health would go immediately to red, and the other guy, and the CPU would just pin me. So yeah, still enjoy
uh,
it.
who are like your biggest inspirations growing up?
Uh, well, John Cena, because
Okay,
I'm a 2007 guy. I started watching and realistically, like around 2006, 2007, um, all the way till Daniel Bryan came in, and then he was my guy riding all the way up. And now it's kind of a tie between well, Bryan's always I feel like going to be there in some way, but right now it's Cody and Hangman Page.
okay. How did you feel about the John Cena heel turn?
I'm not gonna lie, it shook me a little bit. Like, uh, yeah, I almost didn't know how to react to it when it happened. I was like, I just remember just standing up and I'm like, wow, I can't believe they did this. Like, this is his last year. He could have just, like, I would have been satisfied. I feel like everyone would have been satisfied if he just played the hits and,
Yes.
like, won his 17th title. Like, everyone had a feel good moment. But, like, for him to, like, say, like, you know what, let's try this and just see what happens. You know what I mean? Which is, I think, cool. It's exciting. It shakes things up. It's definitely going to be a different match than I thought it was going to be at Mania. Just different build. It's not going to be like, I don't know. I love Cena and I love Cody to death. There is like the baby face syndrome of like, oh, you're great, you're great, you're great, you're great, you're great, and that'd be the whole lead
That'd
up.
be the
So like,
storyline is,
yeah,
hey, we're both good.
you did this much and you set me up for success, but you did this. Like and then I imagine like the episode like right before is when they like get heated and that's fine too. Like I would have been okay with that, but like now this is a little bit more exciting. Now what's Cena gonna do? You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's gonna do and what he's gonna say uh leading up to the whole thing. So very cool overall, what I thought.
Exciting WrestleMania season nonetheless.
Yes, yes.
Growing up, like, was you ever able to go to any like live events or anything like that?
Oh, a ton.
Okay.
Especially yeah, especially when I first started getting in, my dad would take me to the Allstate arena. My dad, my uncle, my brothers would come with, and then I started dragging my friends there, and it was always be a good time. But then I think as I got into after I was done with high school, I'd rather watch like television wrestling on television. I haven't actually went to a lot like as a consumer or paying customer. I haven't gone to a television show in like over a decade. But I've been like extras for like WWE and AEW and TNA and New Japan and all them. Like I was behind the scenes or whatever, and like I'd watch the shows here and there, but like I never got to really sit down and watch it for like over a decade, I'd say now.
What has been like your favorite extra work like experience?
Mm, I think I actually have one. Um so the last time I did it was for AEW and it was the pay-per-view with that ended with Hangman and Swerve
Okay.
in the steel cage, the main event.
All out.
And I was one of the security guards that came out with Swerve, and Swerve was the last guy to come out for the night. So I got to look at the whole sold out crowd, the cage. I'm looking at Hangman in the ring, just like staring at Swerve as we're like, well, the four, like me and three other security guards are like kind of car wise with Swerve as he's in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I'm back corner, I'm pretty sure. And I'm just like taking everything in the whole time. I'm thinking, like, wow, like this is one of the coolest things ever. And like, this could be me like that. Like, I was like, wow, this is something I can actually do. Um, that moment like sticks in my head by far over everything else.
How does like extra work come about? Is it something where you guys message them or send your stuff into them, or do they reach out to you?
I've had it both ways,
Okay.
but usually you find the contact. I'm not sure how public they want it, so I'm not
Okay.
going
Fair
to
enough.
exclude it here. But there's some recruiters or like extra talent management people that we can email and say like, hey, we're in the area for this and this day. I got my and you have to have blood work done and everything. Just letting you know, I'm going to be in the local area around this weekend. Uh, it's called Let Me Know if anything comes up, and sometimes they say yay, and sometimes they say no, or they don't say anything at all. But it's what they need. So
Okay.
you never really know, but it's cool when it happens.
You just kind of like throwing your shot out there and seeing if it works or not.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What ultimately made you decide to start like training?
Uh, okay. So another interesting kind of story. So like I actually wanted to get out of wrestling at that point. It was like, like end of 2019 maybe, or yeah, or maybe the middle of it. I found myself in pretty decent shape. I was out of college. I started the real world life. I was doing CrossFit constantly. I just need some kind of competitive sport because I've been doing sports my whole life. Like I was an amateur wrestler since like kindergarten and a football player, and then like I amateur wrestled all the way to college. And after that, like I was just like, oh, I need something to like, drive whatever. So I did CrossFit or whatever. And then like I kind of want to get over wrestling. So I'm like, you know what? I'm in pretty good shape. I kind of know like physically what you need to be a wrestler, and I'm in the ballpark at least. Like, why don't I just kind of kill the passion by like just trying to train to be one? And then I ended up falling in love with everything, and I just haven't looked back since. I started with a freelance wrestling academy, and yeah, they trained me really well, and yeah, what's called it took me about like a year and a half to have my first match. That was kind of by choice, just because like once again, like I kind of know what goes into wrestling, and like I know how quickly people get hurt. So I want
Yeah.
like, and also I'm one of those people that want to like fill up. Like if I was playing a video game, I like to fill up all my stats and then just power through every level. So like that's kind of like how I wanted to build myself as a wrestler. I wanted to have all my basics, all my ring awareness, all like my psychology, um, like all at like kind of max, or at least as max as I could be before a match, and
Hmm.
then start having matches. So like if I look back at my first match, I'm not gonna cringe, which I'm really
Nice.
happy. I actually I I had my first match for the Nightmare Factory in Georgia. I was actually trained by Cody and QT and their facility of people, and they had like a showcase match at the end, and that was my first match. I wrestled like a guy named the Beast from the East, and what's called it was a pretty decent match. It's on YouTube, Nightmare Factory Class 5. So that's when I officially became a wrestler, and that was at the end of like 2021, I think.
Okay. So you did training for both freelance and the Nightmare Academy.
Nightmare Factory, yeah.
Okay. What was your time like at freelance, and how did it contrast or compare to your time at the Nightmare Factory?
Uh, Kind of simple. Just because like Nightmare Factory is like Seth Rollins' school. It's like Black and Brave. It's like Mustafa Ali's like Chicago Center. Like
Yeah.
anything where it's like a 4 month or something like that. I call them a finishing school, and
Okay.
basically they just train you from beginning to like your first match. So you're getting like all the roles, the gymnastic stuff, da 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 da, and then after you get all those, you get the psychology and everything, da 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 da, and then you're having matches, da 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 da, and you're done. Um, the things that kind of stink about the finishing schools is that like you don't have your basics going in, so a lot of new people that are going in raw just kind of get like pasted into the floor. I got luck because I trained with freelance, and they kind of like gave me all my basics and all my roles. Like the thing with like freelance is like it's like a monthly subscription. It's whatever they feel like working that day. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're gonna do running, or we're gonna work on this move, we're gonna do this and this. So you're getting bits and pieces, dot 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 dot, and eventually I just had a bunch of bits and pieces where like I probably could have had a match like much sooner, and I just chose to just keep collecting pieces, and then like finally the Nightmare Factory or any kind of finishing school could have just filled in the gaps of psychology, and then I was just like off to the race running. So that's the
Uh,
difference, like between a finishing school and a subscription school is like subscription. It may take a little bit longer, but at least you'll get like all the gaps filled over time. It just takes a lot longer. With a finishing school, it's like you're like Zoom. but you might miss some of those little pieces that like a subscription school would have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
How did you feel after your showcase match?
Uh, I felt pretty good. I felt really good. Um, it's also because like when I was still training and not having matches, I was still going to shows and paying dues and helping out and stuff. So I've seen good matches and I've seen some pretty bad matches. So like I kind of saw where I was on the spectrum, if that makes any sense.
Okay. I just want to ask, one of your nicknames or monikers is the Alphasaurus.
It was. I
What?
dropped the Alphasaurus recently last year.
Okay.
It's now I'm the face of fear, Ezio Orlandi.
What?
I want to do something different, a little bit less cartoony.
Yeah.
My main promotion right now is Second Wrestling, and I lead a faction called Phobia.
Okay.
And we're just a bunch of dark, arrogant bullies that want everyone on the roster and the fans to fear us, and we're just willing to be a bunch of ruthless thugs about it. And I don't think the Alphasaurus, would fit in
It
there.
doesn't play in there.
Doesn't play in there. But the face of fear makes a lot more sense. So I've been running with that moniker lately. But the Alphasaurus, I was the Alphasaurus for like the first 2.5 years
Okay.
of me wrestling, and it was fun.
How would you explain what an Alphasaurus is to somebody who may not know?
Oh, it's pretty easy. The Alphasaurus is basically that bully in school that goes to the gym all the time and thinks he's just so awesome and great. But when
Okay.
push comes to shove, like he's not the toughest guy in the world. He can definitely do things impressive, but what he thinks he does is like out of this world. It's the best thing since sliced bread. And realistically, like if you're a guy in the crowd, be like, I mean, that's good, but I've seen other people do it. It's not the best. But like the
Okay.
Alphasaurus just rubs it in, just
I like
like,
it.
yeah, yeah. And the Face of Fear is just more serious character, not no nonsense. Well, not no. There's nonsense in there. It's just not as much cartoonish stuff. I felt like the Alphasaurus was a little bit more cartoony.
Okay.
Um, the Face of Fear is more of a real person, but like has a good amount of charisma in him. He's just not gonna totally like how John Cena over exaggerates on the tag, like when he's like waiting for a tag or something.
Yeah.
That's what I thought the Alphasaurus was. Like he's just a little bit over the top, whereas now like Face of Fear is a little bit more mellow, stand back. He can still be comedic, but it doesn't happen uh nearly as much.
Could we ever see a return of the
Oh
of
yeah.
the Alphasaurus?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
100%. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
You brought up second wrestling.
Hmm.
Um, how did you feel after winning the Maxwell Street Heritage Championship?
Uh, that was my first championship, and I think every wrestler's first championship means a lot to them. At the time, I really thought I I earned it. I truly think I work really hard in wrestling, and I earn a lot of the accolades that I get. I didn't know I was going to win it that day until I showed up, and they told me I was going up. I'm like, all right, well, this felt earned. Two, I got to now like step up and like be this champion or be this face of this company. And I took the ball and ran for it like the whole year, which is really cool. I got to wrestle a lot of people that I didn't think I was going to wrestle. I I got wrestled Colt Cabana. I like a bunch of I'm not sure how familiar are you with second wrestling
A
and
little bit.
freelance
I've been learning my history, if that makes sense.
wrestling? Let's see, man. I wrestled a lot of the roster that like I wasn't
Okay.
planning on wrestling, like Sabotage, David
Okay.
Ali, um, what's called Josh C. I wrestled a handful of times for the championship. Um, Jackson Stampede Larkin. I was feuding
Okay.
with that championship over the most of the time, and we had some really good ones. Just a lot of good championship, I think like intercontinental championship solid matches. I felt like, and
Okay.
I was having a lot of those last year, which I was pretty proud of.
Like workhorse championship style
Hmm.
matchups.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite title defense from that reign?
Ooh. There's one. And it was maybe one of our smallest shows we ever had. It was in the Glow in the Dark show. I wrestled Stampede Larkin in this Glow in the Dark show. Like we were like wearing paint and stuff, but we had like a really good, impressive match in front of like maybe less than like 30 people in that building. But I just remember being just so proud of it. It was a little bit more physical than it had to be, but it was the end of an angle too, and I felt like we closed the book on it, and it came out really well. That match, and then there's a match I had against Trip Jordy on a
Okay.
show called High Voltage. That's very good. That's on YouTube. And then I think, man, I gotta say, a lot of them I really liked. Thankfully, a lot of them are on YouTube. So if you type in my name and you put like championship, I'm sure it'll pop up. But yeah, but those two stick out right now, at least.
Okay. How did the match with AJ Francis come about? And what was it like working with him?
Uh, it was cool. I just found out from the promoter like a month ahead. I was just like, all right, AJ. All right, let's see if I'm gonna come out of this with the championship. No, I was excited because AJ just came off the WWE, and I
Mhm.
saw his video social media presence. He looked very hungry, and he like wants to take it all. He still is.
The
Um,
promo he cut was great. I was watching it earlier. I watched it twice earlier. I'm not gonna lie, and I was like, "That's it." He he showed up.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I saw his promo before when he just started working the indies. Like he's not playing around. He's 100% into this, and I thought I tried the best I could. I'm not sure if you saw my promo, but I did the best I thought I could do against a guy that's on television and everything. And I don't know. I'm happy what we did, and having the match was awesome. It was I can't I don't want to say it was like super simple or anything. It was just like there's only so much you could tell with like this returning guy against the defending champion, and then like we're like wrestling in a mall.
Yeah.
Um, but we had a lot of fun. I feel like if we had another one, it would be like even better. But what we needed to do that day was all we needed, and hopefully get a chance to get another chance to do it again. If that makes any sense.
Definitely. I was also looking like upon doing research. It looks like you wrestled in the U.S. and also in Canada.
Hmm.
Is there any other countries that you've got to wrestle in, or any maybe that you strive to wrestle in one day?
Well, I think I think every wrestler secretly wants to wrestle in Japan at least once. But Mexico definitely would like to try it at least once. Um, and of course, like a Europe, like I think everyone wants to wrestle everywhere.
Okay.
Um, but like at least Japan once would be extra special for me at least.
Is it just like that style that
It's not
interests
the
you?
snow. It's not the style. It's the environment. The
Okay.
style I don't mind doing. I don't. I just not that I hate it or anything. I just don't want to do it every single time. Like
Yes.
I'm very much of like I like my wrestling with all different types of flavors. And don't get me wrong, I can probably watch a whole New Japan like pay per view or whole show and be like, oh, that was awesome. But like if I'm wrestling personally, I like I like hard hitting, I like comedy, I like action, I like main event, I like opener, like I like fast pace. It's very rare if you see me, if you do, like, if you got to follow me at, like, in my car and see me wrestle in a row, I will not have the same match like twice in a row.
Okay.
That's just me.
What's it like trying to switch it up to where every match isn't copy and paste the same thing?
It's much harder than it's much harder than you'd think, but it's worth it for me. I enjoy it so much more. I like putting things in different spots and doing different things, doing different moves and stuff like that, and telling different stories. That's just me. I'm sure there's gonna come a time where like A B C A B C A B C, but maybe when I'm getting paid more, you know.
You don't you don't like the idea of having like a five moves of doom like John Cena?
Oh no, no, yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
It's more of like, but that's one match. I don't want to do five moves of doom the second match.
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. Um at third Coast Wrestling, you became the Tempest World Champion. What was that moment like?
That was nice too. Unfortunately, Third Coast Wrestling did fall through recently, like literally weeks ago. Heartbreaking, just a heartbreaking development. Just it was just financially, but winning that championship once again, I remember Cody told us like one thing about being a champion. It's like you were given a job to be the face, you know, and I always appreciate when anyone tells me like, hey, we're gonna put you're gonna be the face of our brand. We're choosing you over everyone else. You got to represent this to the best of your abilities, and I really appreciate that. And I really appreciated that opportunity as well, just because like that was a very young brand, and we were trying to build everything up, and like, okay, they want me as the final boss character. Now I got to set up this brand to I got to set up this brand to like show that we're a serious company in a capacity, and then we got to make sure whoever beats me for this championship um is like this main hero, like the 3CW favorite. And unfortunately, we didn't get to that. But I appreciated the opportunity and the opponents I got to work while holding that championship, because I had a bunch of fun championship matches there too.
How did Phobia come together? I know you mentioned them a little bit earlier, but how did you guys join together and become a group?
So we so it was after I lost the Maxwell Street Heritage Championship to AJ. Uh, I was in absolute denial. I thought this run can't end here. Like I'm gonna win this championship back, and I'm gonna do it the same way I got in the first place by like earning it myself. And then I was in a contenders match scramble elimination match, and I got to the final two, and it was down to me. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen Darius Luttrell yet, by any
I
chance.
think so. I think so.
Tall, very tall basketball gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came down to me and him, and he ended up beating me in the finals of this thing, and it hurt me to my core that like, oh my god, I put everything into this and I still lost, and it just got me into such denial that like, you know what, like screw this, I'm just gonna take everything myself. Like I've seen everyone else do it. Like, you know what, I know I earned this opportunity, and I'm going to just form a faction. I'm just gonna take it from the roster myself. They should be giving me this opportunity. I shouldn't be a loser. So it was a little bit of a mind games with myself to, okay, you know what, I'm going to be this dark individual. I don't care what these fans think about me. Like they could have voted me to have another contenders match, but instead they're just like, oh, on to the next one, you know. And I just didn't like that treatment. And I also didn't like how AJ had the championship too. I think that's what also rubbed me the wrong way into form this thing because I'm going to need more people to take down AJ Francis, obviously.
Definitely. What's it been like working with somebody like Axel Rico?
Very, very helpful, very helpful. I've known Axel since I start like almost when I started training basically, even before I had matches. He would be working the shows or helping out the shows too, and he was always a friendly, nice guy, and always like kind of helped out where he could. Like I still like he's very good. He has very good wrestling knowledge. That like I'll ask for his advice on things like all the time, especially now that we're in a faction together. I pick his brain all the time. He's not just like a wrestler. He also like has experience in theater and has a professionalism that's above a lot of others. And yeah, so working with him has been awesome.
Definitely. You know, Axel is actually the reason I've found the Chicago indie scene. Funny enough, because I've lived in the Chicago area for I don't know, probably about 15 years now,
Hmm.
but I'm closer towards like the Wisconsin border. So
Hmm.
like I didn't know that there was a lot of indies around until I messaged Axel to get on the podcast actually. And since then he's helped kind of steer me in the right direction, help, tell me to go to like CSW, and then I've seen him at AAW.
Hmm.
So without Axel, I probably would not be talking to you right now, honestly.
See, like, yeah, like Axel's very underrated.
Yes, no, without a doubt.
I think people don't realize how much he will draw regular people into wrestling shows. Like some people just don't know where it is, but he knows how to like I don't know put things out on his social media where it's just like people will gravitate toward the shows. Um, and that's a gift that people should be utilizing more, and people do. Like he just won a championship last weekend, the Golly Championship. Um, he's going what's called he wrestles at so many different promotions. Like
He's
yeah, like
everywhere all the time.
yeah, he's a good face of Chicago wrestling, honestly.
I I think the thing I like most about Axel is just anytime I've seen him, like especially in person, he makes sure to stop and make sure you're taken care of and make sure you enjoyed everything. And like, I can't tell you how many times I've had 10, 15, 20 minute conversations with him just because, and not me stopping him saying, hey, like, how you doing? Like, let's catch up. And you don't get that a lot. It's rare. And I just definitely appreciate him as an individual 100%.
Oh yeah, always a good combo. Very personal guy.
I'm gonna steer off into some fantasy land for a second here. Um, in this world of professional wrestling, there's always a dream match. If you could wrestle anybody, from anywhere, any time period, dead or alive, who are you picking?
Uh, it's always going to be Brian Danielson. I don't know what it is. Um,
Do you want now Brian Danielson or like
uh,
Ring of Honor Brian Danielson?
oh no, I want
No.
I like okay, so as I like grew more as a wrestler, I realized, oh my God, this guy looks like he just takes the life out of like people. Like
Hmm.
uh probably the WWE version, but like I don't know, every version of Brian Danielson, maybe I almost don't want to say this latest one just because like I realize how much he's been wrestling with injuries and stuff like that. Probably like anytime I like any version of Brian Danielson where he's probably in the less amount of pain or like injury or something. Where he's at his healthiest, I would love to wrestle him any time zone, really.
Okay.
Yeah, just
What
because,
kind of matchup?
honestly, like a regular
Okay.
match, main event for
All
of a
right.
of a pay per view or show for a championship, like that would be like my dream, honestly.
Okay. Um, since we brought up Brian Danielson, something that like especially like his latest run you brought up, he's been hurt a lot. How do you feel about guys wrestling through injuries that maybe they should take the time for them to heal?
Well, the thing is, like with wrestling, is it's not as easy. Like, oh, you can just take a break, because then you're calling all these people, telling them you're not going to be at the show. Sometimes, like people are hurt, and they're like, I'm not going to be able to get X-rays for like 2 weeks, so I don't
Yeah,
even know what this is. And then like you get the X-ray, and you're like, oh, this is probably not as bad as you think. And then you find out, oh, you broke this bone, or you got an MRI, you tore your like ACL,
yeah,
and now you're out even longer. But then you find out like after the injury happens, like before the X-ray happens, a week after, you feel like, oh, there's a little hiccup here, but I feel good. Like I could roll. Like then like, oh, I'll go to training and see if I can make it through training for like 2 hours, then I could probably work matches. And then you make it through training, and you're like, oh wow, I'm cooking, like maybe this is like I'll just work around this and it'll be fine or whatever. And then like I could win the championship that this company told me I was going to win. I can wrestle this person that they promised me like months ago. And like, no, this plan gets ruined. And like, you can make it through all that. And then one day, like, you got you achieved all this stuff that you didn't think you would either way. But if you took that time off and you found out what your injury was, all that stuff wouldn't have happened. And then your momentum slowed. You don't have that experience. So you kind of, when you get hurt and you come back, um, you kind of you don't start at ground zero, but it's definitely not where you were at first. Cause like people are like, oh, he's back in the shuffle again. Let's see how this goes.
yeah.
So that's why, like, that's like, I kind of understand it. Cause like I was hurt. Like I had bone shards in my knee, and I couldn't straighten my knee at all. But like I could run and like jump and stuff. But the thing is like if I don't have surgery to get taken out, it's gonna mess with the length of my leg and my hip, and it's gonna mess me up from the bottom to the top over time.
Okay.
So, but like I had like a ridiculous amount of time before the surgery, and like I could still like run and jump and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna throw out all these opportunities just because I feel pretty good. So I'm just gonna wrestle these couple months, and I did, and I got to capitalize on like a bunch of good opportunities before having the surgery. So I kind of get where it is. Wrestling is one of those things where you can work around things. But like when it's like your neck and stuff, it's hard, but like it's not my life, it's theirs, you know what I mean? So it's up to who's ever running the show really at that point. Me personally, like if I had the chance to wrestle Brian Danielson and he had a hurt neck, I'm like, well, this is my one opportunity. I'm gonna have to like hold it out, see what happens.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like it's kind of like that. Sometimes it is what it is, and just take when you can get. Unless it's like, he can barely walk. He's hobbling on one foot. This is not gonna look good in any capacity. But no, like you gotta take it for what it is, I guess.
Okay.
Which is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My last question is going to be, what do you have in store for us for the rest of 2025, maybe goal wise? Like, what are your goals for the rest of this year?
The rest of my goals for this year. Um, I think it's to win a company's world championship. I don't know which one, but
Okay.
that's that's my top goal. Um, have more matches with more names. Have more notable matches that stand out in the Chicago area. Wrestle for more places. I'm really starting to work for a lot more different places in Wisconsin. I'm working for a show called Frontline.
Okay.
I'm wrestling there for the third time this weekend coming up. Um, and just trying to find more homes for myself so I can keep spreading out like my name. Because it's unfortunately, no one else is going to help you except yourself. You just got to get out there and get in the car. Like I truly feel like wherever I can show up and like have a match and have an opportunity, I can make an impression to um, make you debate on keeping me in the roster or not. And I keep working up, keep working up. I really feel like I can make an impact in this business in some capacity. And it's just to keep getting better. You know, I train with Mustafa Ali in for the Chicago Wrestling Center, and like I started training with him because like I want to move up to the next level and get that much better. And it's painful. It's probably like some of the hardest training I think you can get, honestly. Just the way he runs everything. Um, like I have like a black eye right now, and that's not even for matches. That's just from like training, just because it's uh it's really physical, um, and a lot of cardio based stuff. And if you can't hang, he's just gonna tell you like, hey, like this just isn't for you, you know. And I kind of like that little cutthroat stuff. Like it's either like you're in or you're out. Like you're either gonna put the work in the gym and like eat right or whatever, or like whatever you're doing on the side is gonna like cast you out, you know. So it's I'm only in my career for like a little over 3 years. I'm sure I can keep doing more. I don't want to put like a name on anything just so like because like wrestling's like everything, you know. Like if you drive home like a goal so hard and it doesn't happen, it like eats at you, you know. And you need to take everything day by day and just see what the opportunity is. Like the end goal is obviously to like sign a contract and make a living on this. You know, that's one of the goals. You know, it's not the top goal, but it's like A, and then there's B is like win a world title on television, and like C is somehow make wrestling bigger than it already is, you know. But I take everything day by day. But at least for this year is to win a company's world championship.
Okay.
Mhm.
Man, this was a great time. Thank you so much for reaching out, making this all happen. Um, if ever you want to come back on the podcast to do a little update or something, maybe we can make that work.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely try to send more people your way so you can get a little bit more notoriety. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Of course.
I hope you had your fill.
No, it was great. I really do appreciate it. And no, we'll definitely have to get you back on here to do an update. I'm excited to see where you're going. You've trained multiple notable schools. You're climbing the ladder everywhere you go. Um, and once again, any friend of Axel is a friend of mine. So I'm excited to see where you go, man. And I can't wait to hear more.
But you'll if you go to a I don't know if for the people that watch this, if you go to one of the Chicago or Illinois shows that weekend, you'll see me.
Okay. Stay tuned to social medias to see where we'll see you next.
Yes, follow me on all social media to see what I'm doing. I try to post everything that I'm scheduled for. I have a pro wrestling tees store if you want to support me. Ezio Orlandi. The Face of Fear shirt is new, and then I still have the Alpha Source shirts up there if anyone is interested in those. And I think that is all I have to advertise.